right. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the App Builder Study Group, and we are hitting the user interface primarily today. That's our focus, and we've got hopefully 4 presentations to get through. So we're going to move hopefully fairly fast through these. I shouldn't say hopefully. We should move at the pace that we need to learn it. So that'll be our game plan here for today. So I'm going to be quiet, stop sharing, and Scott, I will let you take over.
Okay. There we are. Everyone see it all right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, I'll just jump in since you have a lot to go through today, and I'll look at customization options on user interface. There we go. So the main topic areas are understand how page layout elements drive content on record pages and Lightning experience, and identify which part of the Lightning experience user interface is driven by a compact layout. And as I've gone through some flashcards on the App Builder exam, they always sneak in a couple questions, or at least one, on the compact layout. So that alone, I think, will hopefully make this worthwhile. So I think for those of you who have experience with Salesforce, you will have encountered a lot of this stuff. You can customize the content of your record pages in Lightning using tools you're familiar with page layouts and compact layouts. For page layouts in Lightning Experience, when you customize your objects in Salesforce Classic, the changes can affect the content of object record pages in Lightning Experience. But in Lightning Experience, the page elements display differently and some aren't supported. If your org supports multiple page layouts, you can create a page layout from the page layouts related list on any object in the object manager. And you can also edit or delete an object's page layouts by clicking Action Related List icon on a page layout in the Page Layouts Related List. And I'll have a couple of examples of this a little bit. So here's an example. This is something off of Trailhead. This is a sample contact record page in Lightning Experience. The Highlights panel contains key record fields, and it's the only part of a record page you can't customize using the Page Layout Editor. The fields in the Highlights panel are customized using a compact layout, and we'll get into compact layouts in a second. So these are page layout elements supported in Lightning. Actions display in different places, like the Highlights panel, Activity tab, and the Chatter tab. Actions come from the list of actions in the Salesforce Mobile and Lightning Experience Actions section of the page layout. Some actions aren't supported in Lightning Experience, and I'll mention that later. Blank spaces and Canvas apps and custom links, or blank spaces and Canvas apps are supported in Lightning Experience, and custom links display under the Details tab. Fields display under the Details tab, and you can remove or reorder fields on a page layout only with the Page Layout Editor. And some more page layout elements, related lists. These are included as Lightning components in Lightning Experience. Not all related lists are supported in Lightning. In Lightning Experience, a related list type determines how many fields are displayed in a related list. The basic list related list type displays the first 4 fields of a related list, and the enhanced list type shows up to 10 fields, and you can resize and sort columns, wrap text. To change the related list type, you can customize the related list component in the Lightning App Builder. For report charts that you add to a page layout appear under the Details tab in Lightning Experience. When you add a report chart to a page layout, it can take a bit before the chart appears on Lightning record pages. For sections appear along with fields under the Details tab. A section with no header is incorporated into the section above it. The detail page visibility controls whether the section header appears for both the detail page and the edit page. If the section header is set to display or hide on the detail page, then the header also displays or hides on the edit page. And standard and custom buttons, they're treated as actions in Lightning Experience, like in the Salesforce app. For visual force pages that you add to the page layout appear under the Details tab. Only visual force pages with available for Lightning Experience, Lightning Communities, and the mobile app enable display in Lightning Experience on Lightning Pages and utility bars and the Salesforce app. And one other thing too, I just want to mention, these page layout elements aren't supported in Lightning Experience, including expanded lookups, mobile cards, S controls, section header visibility for the edit page, and tags. For compact layouts, if you've completed, you might have encountered this on different parts of Trailhead, like the mobile basics module. I think I've gone through that one, but it's been several months. I can't remember. I was working on some badge. But anyway, if you've done that or different things in your work, you might be familiar with compact layouts and how they work in the mobile app. They're the same in the Lightning experience. They show a record's key fields and highlights panel of a record page. And compact layouts are used in other places like the activity timeline or expanded lookup cards. So what a compact layout does is it lets you put the most important fields where your users can see them. And if your org supports record types, you can assign a compact layout to different record types like you can with the page layout. In Lightning Experience, up to the first 7 fields in a compact layout appear in the highlights panel of an object record. So here's an example there of a compact layout. When a user hovers over a lookup relationship field on the object record page, a highlights panel for that field displays the first 5 fields from the compact layout. And I don't think you can see that. I did a screen grab, but I wasn't able to get enough. The dimensions of PowerPoint didn't let me show all that, but take my word for it, I guess. And highlights panels display the first field from the compact layout at the top in an accented font. Ooh. So that's basically it right there. I just want to, and I know other people in their presentations will go into more detail, so I won't rob anyone's thunder. I'll just do a couple of questions. These are pulled off of Trailhead, so we'll see what people think. The first one there, you can customize Lightning Experience record pages using which page layout elements?
E?
Everybody's quiet.
What'd someone say?
I heard E.
E?
Da, 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 da. Okay, so E. And one more. Which part of a record page is customized using a compact layout?
Is it B?
Yes, fields in the highlights panel. All right, well, that's all I have, so nothing else for me to say.
I had a question. I'm not familiar with the term Canvas apps. Does anyone use those before?
I am not either. I was just going off the list, so.
No, it's fine. I just wondered if anyone on the call had used it.
I've not used them, and every time I try to think about how to describe them, I get myself even more confused.
I can just study it. It's fine.
I think I'm going to let you do that. Otherwise, I may send you down a path that's not exactly right. You want to take a stab at it, Carla? Do you have?
No, I haven't used them either.
I've not used them. I have a general idea of how and when we would use them, but again, I'm afraid I might answer it wrong, so I'm going to leave it alone.
Me too.
Sorry to put you guys on the spot.
That's okay.
No, it's good. All right, Matt, I believe you are up next. And you are muted, so there you go.
There we go. Here's the presentation. So this is a further exploration, I guess, of the user interface. And it goes a little bit more into the customization of the user interface for users, more specifically the buttons, links, and actions that are available. And so I have some of that for the start, and then some of the use cases I had taken from Focus on Force, and they serve as the kind of the practice questions. So one of the ways that you can customize Salesforce is through like the active buttons and actions. And one of the things that I was reading about in this practical Salesforce development without code was that way to compartmentalize like these names and such is where the actions take place. For example, with the global action that is pervasive to the entire application, whereas if you have object-specific actions, those are only compartmentalized with like an account or contact. And so for the start, the four that occur are custom buttons, custom links, global actions, and the object-specific actions. And to me, I guess one of the hard parts of kind of organizing all this information is you have four different ways to kind of customize it, but there's all of these different compartments. And we'll go through some of them a little bit in more detail. So here's a general overview. You can display your URL. You can execute JavaScript. You can create a new visual force page. And then there's also the S control content. Each of these custom buttons can be listed either on a detail page, a list view, search result, or a related list. And so the next one would be the list buttons. And I've specified some of the things that it can edit. A lot of times what I just find with these buttons and these custom actions is you're essentially wanting to provide this business stakeholder a quick action that they can utilize to modify certain things like populating certain fields for a customer or for an opportunity. Some of the capabilities include they custom buttons can replace standard buttons. They can optionally display checkboxes. They can help with displaying like external URLs for users. And whether that be JavaScript or a specific visual force page. And it can also launch other URLs or like custom URLs. For example, at Truckstop, what we had with some of these custom URLs was there was a legacy system. And so a lot of times the URL for the specific account was on the account detail page. Some of the functionalities with JavaScript are they are able to delete one or more records. One question that kind of came up as I was studying this, and I didn't really, I was wanting to kind of verify with other people in the study group was, are a lot of these, like with these buttons and such, do they replace like certain functionality with like in flows and workflows? Because like with the flows, I know you can delete records and such. And so that was a question I had wanted to ask the study group if they had experience with like JavaScript buttons and how they might differ from flows.
Yeah, so I can take that. JavaScript buttons are actually not supported in Lightning.
Okay.
They were in Classic, and the bullet points that you have here are exactly kind of the way that we would potentially leverage them. It was a way of kind of gaming the system a little bit. Unfortunately, it's not the most secure. And
sure.
So when they moved to Lightning, they disabled that capability. But I think I was reading something where that may be coming back I'm assuming in a more secure fashion. But actually, no, it's not coming back. It's not coming back. I'm thinking something entirely different. But yeah, so you would not leverage a JavaScript button if you're on the Lightning interface. To my best of my knowledge,
Okay.
it's not allowed.
Yeah, I agree with you, Terry, there.
Okay.
Some of the capabilities with the URL, you can pass data from a current record and display it in a URL. You can merge different fields from Salesforce to create the URL, using conditional functions to create the URL. And you can also have the URL display a Salesforce report related to the record that's pulled up. Here are some of the, I guess, some of the limitations. The custom buttons cannot be added to the detail page of the user object. They're not available for web to lead, web to case, and the case teams related list. And this last one kind of that we touched upon with not it being supported in like the Lightning experience. And then the standard buttons can be overridden. That was one I also had a question on. So you can, like with the standard buttons in Salesforce, you can have a custom button that essentially replaces it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So your use case there might be that you want a custom edit page for the account, and I can't think of a good use case for why you would, but in case you did, you can override the standard Salesforce edit process and go to a custom way of doing that.
Sure. No, that makes sense. And so here are the different types of actions. There's chatter default, mobile smart actions, and custom actions and productivity. This was going back to my comment with a lot of the times with the actions. They're compartmentalized where they function within Salesforce. So like chatter and actions work on chatter, mobile on the mobile app. The standard chatter actions, I'm not going to go into too much detail because some of this I thought was pretty straightforward, like the post button, the file button, link button, poll questions, etc. And they restrict the different ones that are available within the Lightning experience. The default actions, they're the predefined set of fields on the different page layouts. And so, and they're supported on, the standard list of record detail pages, the account case, etc. And then there are mobile applications, more specifically, they are for the account case, contact, lead, and opportunity. Productivity, this seemed to be a little bit more of some of the non-standard, or at least these were newer to me. For example, like you can have buttons or actions where they're either sending an email, you're viewing a website. Was log a call was one I had read about. But, essentially, it's just making it more easy for the business stakeholders to populate certain data or to respond to certain activities. Now, global actions are much more pervasive, so they act on the entire application as opposed to the specific object. Now, this is where the log a call and send an email are. Now, with the global actions, I know that they're on like the global publisher layout. So if you have a global button that has an action, it's going to be acting on it for the entire like data hierarchy. For example, if you're like on the account page, is it then going to have the action work also on like the records, the contact records as well in any campaign that's associated with that account. That was my impression with the global actions. We had talked about the object-specific actions. You can create a record, update a record action, and there are object-specific actions. This was the only consideration for the page layouts. The record detail page layouts use the global one unless it's overridden. And do we have time for the use cases, or are we straddled for time?
I think we do.
Okay. So some of the use cases, I could see where these would be questions, like giving a, for example, like the account detail page could contain a link to the Google map that shows the geographical location associated with the account's billing address. The map should be displayed in a new window. And I probably shouldn't have had the resolution right there on the slide. Next time I'll have it fade in.
So the account detail.
To me, with a lot of the things with these buttons and such, is you're essentially it's enabling you to have like some sort of visual content or like URL that is inherently within Salesforce.
Okay. Anyone have any questions on that particular use case?
Doesn't sound like it.
All right. All right. Let's see number 2.
And this should be specified that it's only within Salesforce Classic.
Yep.
Would this even be like on the test now?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not. But it is still one of the choices when you create your button. So it's hard to say. But if it did come up, I would almost guess it would be in the context of that it's not compatible with Lightning. Something along that line.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Again, we are just guessing. I just
Yes.
put that caveat, putting that caveat out there. We know no more than you do on what the exam questions are going to be, but
Yeah.
if I were taking a stab at it, that would be my guess.
Yeah.
The third one is having this. We want to have a related opportunity directly from the feed of an account record. And so they were recommending with an object-specific action. It just seems like going through these that one of the things that they'll definitely be testing on is like with the actions, whether or not you're wanting to use a global action as opposed to like an object-specific action. And to me, the thing to remember is it seems to be where, if you're wanting the counter, the information just to be associated with a certain type of record.
You're kind of fading really bad there, Matt. But yeah. I think your answer is that right on there. What I heard you say was that the record action is going to be specific to a record page, or and then the global would be more system wide or available. It's not object, or it's not record specific.
Sure. No, it's but with the object specific action, it would be for example, if you're wanting to populate like details from for an opportunity in populating a specific contact or account, it would be whether or not, like, what objects you're wanting to put it on. And I think the last one would be a support representative should be able to send an email from the chatter feed. And then this would be a global action, which would be a send as email.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the key word there is that's on the homepage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not object specific. So that's why it would need to be global.
Okay.
Yep.
And so that was the last use case.
All right. Any questions from anybody on what Matt shared with us? Not Carla. I'll let you run.
Am I next?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. I think this is the screen I want. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. I just have just a couple slides. I thought I would kind of go over some Lightning Component declarative options, and then maybe hop into an org and take a look at it. But I wasn't sure how deep to get or not, but we'll just start in here. So Lightning Components are very specific to the Lightning App Builder. So the Lightning App Builder, you can create home pages, record pages, or app pages. So home pages are cool to customize for specific apps and profiles. So you go to a specific app and you're displayed with a specific home page that you can customize declaratively with Lightning Components. Record pages are specific per object. So you pick an object that you want when you choose to create a record page. And then you can assign it to certain record types and profiles to really customize what users see when they go to specific records. And then app pages. So if you create a whole new app and you create pages within that app for specific user tasks or like dashboard style apps, you can add Lightning Components to any one of these three things. Component visibility is a really cool function that allows you to add filter conditions and logic to different Lightning components to display or hide them within certain conditions. So for example, you can construct a filter that causes a rich text component on an opportunity page to display when the opportunity's amount is greater than or equal to $1 million. So you can say, you know, something like this is a high dollar alert or something like that. But the one I have on my screenshot is just shows the cases related list if the customer priority is high. Just lots of different things you can do with component visibility in the Lightning App Builder. You can add Lightning components declaratively in Flow, but the custom Lightning component would need to be created programmatically by a developer, or you can install Flow components, Lightning components for Flow via the App Exchange, which is really cool. So as an admin in Flow, you can declaratively add and customize Lightning components, but those two caveats are either get them from the App Exchange or have a developer create them for you specifically for your org. But you can customize them declaratively within the Flow Builder. And it has to be on a Flow screen, obviously. So you're interacting with that Lightning component within a Flow screen. So it has to be a screen-based Flow. Let's see, I think this is my last slide. Lightning component types. So there's 3 types. There's standard ones that come out of the box. And they differ based on what kind of page you're creating. So if you're creating a home page or a record page, sometimes the standard ones can change. But some examples would be like today's tasks, recent items, tabs, record detail. Like that record detail one you would only see on a record page. You wouldn't have that option on like a home page. But related list, same thing. There's lots of different standard Lightning component types, and I'm gonna hop into an org here and show you. You can also do custom ones, and those, like I said in the last slide, were ones that are created programmatically by developers specifically for your org. And then custom managed are Lightning components that you've installed via the App Exchange that you can drag and drop onto your app or your page or whatever you're working with in the Lightning App Builder. So those are the three types of Lightning components that you can have. I think that was the end of my, get out of this here. Let me grab this page. So in the Lightning App Builder, just really quick, I was just going to show you the standard ones they have. I'm on a record page, so I'm looking at customizing this particular account page. And these standard, this says there's 34 standard. I don't know if you get like data.com or Einstein Analytics if you don't have those like in your org. So the number of standard components might vary based on what org you're in. I just happen to be in a Trailhead playground. But certain things you can add all these components like the highlights panel. I think that Matt went over or Scott went over, can't remember, sorry. Somebody talked about it. You can add the flow component, record detail, related list components, all these different types. So I think for the exam, it might be good to just kind of go over each one of these and make sure you know what they do or what they are. The other two that I talked about were custom. So I created a my component Lightning component with code. So I have it listed here, but then I also installed a custom Lightning component from the App Exchange. So you could drag and drop those onto your canvas here in the middle. And then let me click on, let me actually just do this. Oh, rich text. We'll do this here. So that component visibility that I talked about is on pretty much, I think, any component, but down here. So I didn't put anything in my rich text. Obviously, just an example here, but you can customize your rich text, but I only want this to display, oops, get out of here, tips. I only want that to display when active is true, or yes. So those types of things that you can do inside the App Builder, I think, are really good things to know for the exam. Really quickly, I think sometimes they ask about customizing and enhancing your org with App Exchange solutions. So I just was going to call out that there are flow solutions in here that have Lightning components in them, as well as a section of just Lightning components in the App Exchange. So I just came out here and grabbed this enhanced Lightning grid, which is a Lightning component, and I installed it, and now I have that available to me down here in the managed custom section of the Lightning App Builder. So I was kind of quick. I don't know if anybody has any specific questions, but I just wanted to call out the declaratively adding and customizing Lightning components and where you would do that. And obviously this is Lightning, so it's pretty specific to Lightning Edition, not Classic. So I had.
I have a question. Different tabs on your record page, so related details, news. Mm-hmm. Are those able to be component visibility, like filtered visibility, so you only see the tab?
No. I wish that were a thing. I just came across that in my org, actually. I think it's all or nothing. So this tabs component that is dragged onto the screen is all or nothing. So if I added a filter, the entire tabs would show or hide based
Okay.
on the filter and not these individual tabs.
Okay.
You'd have to do a custom Lightning component to do something like that.
I agree with you. I wish that feature was available.
Yeah. There might be something out here on the App Exchange. I don't know, but they have a lot of stuff out here, so there might be.
Yeah, because we embedded flow onto a different tab. And in the flow is where we have logic saying that you can't run this flow for specific things. So you still see the tab and people can go to the tab, and then the flow will just tell you, no, you can't do this because of something. So yeah, it'd be nice if we could hide that whole tab altogether. But
I've hidden and shown flow components based on a custom permission.
Yeah.
But not the actual tab. So if you had a flow inside this tab, the flow component you could show and hide with a custom permission, which is pretty cool.
yeah,
not
which
the tab.
we actually do have that too. Yeah, if you have a specific profile, you can see the flow, but yeah, everyone's going to see the tab, unfortunately.
Right. Yes.
One thing that I would add to this, just to be aware of, frequently we will use actions and create additional tabs, just kind of as a way of segmenting data on a Lightning record page. I would be careful when you're activating your record page to activate that specifically for the desktop and not for the mobile experience. That the mobile experience gets a little bit goofy with some of those desktop helpful features. It's not goofy. It's just extra clicks and noise on the on your small format. It just doesn't work and look the same. And so activating your Lightning record page specific for desktop versus mobile can be really a benefit to your mobile people, and create your page specifically for mobile. And I think you'll find that your mobile folks will appreciate that.
Yeah. And can you set certain things to show and hide based on mobile?
Yeah, yes, I believe you can. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool too.
Yeah, that would be another option, is just to make certain things invisible for your mobile device.
If it's not needed, yeah.
Needed, yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, I was working with a client, and when I went to look at the mobile experience, I was thinking, why do I have all these extra clicks and sections on the page that it just, and I realized that, well, it's because of some of these extra things that I thought looked really cool on a desktop didn't look quite so cool on the mobile. So they also said, when I was reading about it, the mobile takes the performance hit too with some of these nicer desktop things. So just something to be aware of.
Yeah.
It's one of those things I'd like to dig into a little bit more, just to understand what is exactly that performance hit, and when does it make sense to use certain things and when it doesn't. So anyway, good stuff. All right, let me share my screen. Hopefully you're able to see that. I am not on camera because I lost internet just earlier this morning, and I have not had a chance to find out if it came back. So I'm running off of my cellular. So I thought I'd keep my bandwidth fairly light, hopefully. So hopefully you're able to see my screen, and hopefully I'm able to be heard well enough to go through this. So what I did for the design solutions is just a Q&A, and this could be an enormous Q&A, especially with Lightning, because there's so many ways of configuring that interface that we really could have a boatload of questions here, but I don't have that many, so we'll go through them. And I've got one that as I am thinking about it, when it comes up, it's kind of a stupid question, and we may just skip it, but we'll go through these and see how we do. Our Universal Containers is a new Salesforce customer. Michelle, a Salesforce developer, has been asked to build a complex custom solution for their sales team. The process will involve multiple screens and will need to retrieve data from an external system. Which tool would you recommend Michelle use?
A tricky question, Terry.
It kind of is. But as an admin, I think this is a question that you will want to be able to answer.
Agreed.
It would be Flow, wouldn't it?
I'm going to say no, and it's no because of the external system.
Okay.
Mentioned. Yeah, but that's a good guess.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't necessarily need a developer either if it was Flow.
Right.
Flow is kind of intended for your admin. Not that a developer can't use it. It's but yeah, good guess. I appreciate that. Anybody else?
I would then guess C.
Yeah, Lightning Web Component. Yeah, and C is the correct answer. There's a couple reasons that you want to kind of clue into that. They're a new customer, which means that they were implemented. Their org is already in Lightning, so that kind of lends itself here. It is a developer, so they are going to create code. The level of complexity, and then that external system are kind of the primary reasons you'd go with a Lightning Web Component. Could you use Visual Force? Sure. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't if I'm in Lightning. I mean, you can, but the Lightning Web Component would certainly be the better of the solutions.
Harry, before you move on, I didn't specify the difference between Lightning Web Component and Lightning Component. I didn't feel that for the exam, you'd have to know the difference. Did you call out Lightning Web Component on purpose?
I did.
Okay. I mean, like the web component instead of just a Lightning component, because there's a difference.
Yeah, I did call that out.
I guess I wasn't sure. I didn't bring it up in my presentation just because I wasn't sure if folks would need to know the difference between those.
Probably.
And we could put some resources, but you don't think so?
I don't think you would need to know the difference. I mean, a Lightning Web Component versus an Aura component. Yeah. I doubt that you'd need to know the difference. I mean, half the developers probably can't explain the difference between that either. So I can't imagine as admin you'll need to. But from an admin perspective, what that Lightning Web Component will do is it will show up as a custom component on those Lightning web pages. So your record page. So where Carla showed you that you could add a app exchange component, it was down in that very far bottom left hand corner of that edit page where you had custom items. That's where this would show up as well.
Yeah. Okay. Just thought I'd ask.
You've been asked to build a step-by-step process to guide the call center staff through a call script. Which tool would you use?
B, Flow.
Very good. Anybody else want to argue that one? All right. Flow is the answer. I'm going to take the same question, ask it slightly different. You've been asked to build a step-by-step process to guide the call center staff through a call script. Each step needs to be marked as complete, time-stamped, and visually shown on the page that each step was complete. Which tool would you use?
A, pass.
Anyone else? It's technically two choices here in combination. if that helps.
D.
It's going to be B and D. One of your components on that Lightning web page is called actions and recommendations. It used to be called a guided actions. And it's made up of multiple flows that will, so each of the steps that this call script would go through is an individual flow, and you're grouping multiple flows together, and they literally are like marking that flow is done. And you get a history and a visual indication on your page that those flows were completed. It's very, very cool. If you haven't played with those actions and recommendations. This is the stupid question. I don't think this really applies, but just to see how well you know these terms. Universal Containers recently purchased Salesforce and wants professional help implementing the software. Who would you engage to implement the system? This has zero to do with user interface, so I don't know why I put it on here.
B.
B. Which one? Sorry.
B.
B. Yeah, system integrator. What's the difference between a system integrator and an ISV?
ISV is an independent software vendor, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm not sure what it stands for, but yeah, it's something.
Yes.
It's the people creating your apps on App Exchange would often be a ISV partner. So yeah,
I think I was talking with a sales rep for some competitor to call Five9, and she had just said, if you're looking at like ISV partner, she had mentioned independent software vendor. So I think that's what it stands for.
It is.
Is it? All right, good.
And it also means that they can sell licenses on behalf.
Oh, good call. Yeah, good call. Yeah. Very good. Why wouldn't it be Salesforce support?
They do not implement Salesforce.
Yep, but Salesforce does have an arm, a professional services arm that does. But yes, that's so. If I had Salesforce professional services, that could be an accurate answer there too.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Again, that was a dumb question, but it was there. What would you use if you want to add a field to the highlights panel of a Lightning record page? You want to add a field to the highlights panel.
C, compact layout.
Yeah, compact layout. Good. Awesome. Sales team has asked for a quick way to create a new task regardless of what screen the user is on. How would you accomplish this request?
A.
Yep. A, the global action. And where is that going to show up if you create that? It's kind of already created for you, but where would it show up?
On all the record pages?
No. It's going to show up underneath that plus sign that's up toward the top right of your page where you have the little gear. There's the plus sign. There's the star up there for your favorites as well. And when you click on a action that's underneath that plus sign, how does that appear on your Lightning record page? Does it show up in the middle of the page? Does it navigate you away from the current page that you're on? How does it appear?
Pops up in the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah, it pops up in that bottom right-hand corner. Yeah. Very, very good.
I just did it. I had it open.
Yep. Here, that's okay. Which of the following action type is not an option when creating a record action? So we're creating a record action. Which of the following is not an option? So you're on an object. So for example, say we're on the account object and you're in that button, links, and action section, and you're creating an action. So which of these is not available as an action type? I must have tricked everybody with this one. All right. Do you know where, do you understand where we're at in Salesforce for this?
Mhm.
Okay, so we are on a record page. I'm sorry, not a record page. We're in setup, button links and actions, and we're creating a new action. And there are certain types of things here that you can create. You can create a record, send an email, log a call. You can open a Visualforce page, edit a record, call a lightning component or a flow. So the one that we could not do here is the open up a link to another website.
And is that because it's outside of Salesforce? Whereas the other options?
I'm not sure what the logic is there. Now, if you did want to do a link to another web page, you could do that, but you would use the buttons and links and create a link button or a detail page. I'm sorry, I said that totally wrong. You'd create a detail page link, and then that shows up on your record page down toward the bottom of the page. So yeah, that would be something to be aware of, are those types of actions that you can create. Just trying to think if there's any other questions off the top of my head that I can quiz you for the next 5 minutes.
Gary, one thing I wanted to bring up was
Yeah.
When you go to setup, there is a user interface page. I was wondering if anybody was going to bring that up. Those options you should probably be pretty familiar with.
Oh yes, yeah. Are you talking about the? Let me get into a different.
I can share my
Okay.
screen quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to be in one of my client
No,
systems.
you're good. Just a second. I just can you see my screen?
Yep.
So I just hopped into setup and I just started typing in user interface. Obviously, there's all these things that we kind of just talked about, you know, global actions, the app builder, all of these things. But at the very bottom, there's a page called user interface. So I think that it would be really good to go through and know what each one of these things are and what they do.
And some of yeah, and some of those don't apply to the Lightning interface anymore.
Right.
But being aware that they are there is a good thing. Yes, I agree.
I just wanted to bring that up. I wasn't sure if anybody's going to bring that up or not, but we didn't talk about tabs. That's a really
true.
good thing to know about inside of the user interface section.
Yeah, the app manager is another one that is very important that we should know.
I did not go over that either in mine because mine was really specific to Lightning components, but the app manager is also incredibly important to know about. Creating new ones and assigning them to profiles and things, how everything all links together, right? So create an app, use the Lightning app builder to create pages within that app, you know, extending security, you know, what profiles can see the app and interface, you know, and use the app. All of these things inside of here should be in the user interface.
Yeah, and the user interface is 14% of your exam, and man, they could go 1,000 different directions with questions on this topic alone. So it's interesting to me that it's only 14% because they really could throw an enormous variety of questions at you and expect you to know, to be familiar with it. So,
is this the second largest section
Um,
after
the,
security?
no, the first is the business logic and process automation. That's what we
Oh,
just
right,
spent
right.
the last 3 weeks on. And
Yes, okay.
then data modeling and management is the one that follows it at 20%, and then user interface at 14.
Okay, yeah.
Are field sets a big thing in the rest of Salesforce world? I know it's big in field service lightning, but I don't know if that was ever a
Field
common.
sets?
I
Yeah.
used it a lot in Classic. I have not used
I
it
did
really
too.
at all in Lightning.
Yeah, I use it in Lightning in web components for the exact same reason that you did probably in Visual Force pages for on the
Yes.
classic side.
Yes.
It's a way of defining a group of fields that a developer can leverage um, within their component. So it gives the admin a little extra control um, without
Right.
having the hard code values in your development code.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
I also, oh, go
they're
ahead,
really
Ty.
in, the field service lightning product in terms of you define those fields for what it actually shows, since there's a whole bunch of other pages and views
Yeah.
and stuff.
That's
Like
that's yeah, that's why they didn't want to hard code that stuff, and they wanted to give admins the ability to manipulate the what they're seeing. So yeah, that's a perfect example of why you'd do it.
Yeah, I worked at an ISV with an app exchange partner at my last job, and we use that a lot to make the app really customizable.
Yeah. All right, we are at the top of the hour here, so let's stop recording and let's go over our assignments for next week.